guests aren't searching for our hotel and then deciding they want to come to Durango or Manitou Springs. They're deciding they want to go to Durango or to Manitou Springs, Colorado, and then they're looking for a place to stay.
What has been the narrative that you've created for these hotels in order to be able to market them properly and get a higher volume of guests?
A lot of our demographic and target market in terms of marketing has just been focused on who we are as people. We definitely leaned into this clean, modern aesthetic, but something that feels true to Colorado, true to the roots of the area.
What have been the channels that you've decided to use, and do you have any example of a certain campaign that you applied that worked really well?
What we've found to be the most effective tends to be user-generated content. So people don't want these stale images of a clean room, right? Like, it doesn't evoke emotion in them when you're trying to market that to people. When we have people actually using the space, those types of things are what are going to draw guests in.
Hey everybody, thank you for tuning in. My name is Andres Figueira and I'm going to be your host for the day. This show is brought to you by the Global Talent Company, helping fast-growing teams hire exceptional remote talent from Argentina, South Africa, and beyond. We connect companies with world-class professionals who bring skill, reliability, and a global perspective to every role. And just for our listeners, we're offering an exclusive 10% discount on your first hire. All you need to do is visit theglobaltalent.co, click Start Hiring, and mention the podcast listener discount when we reach out. And today, with me here, I am speaking with Jordan Malara, owner of Adventure Inn Durango and The Ridge Hotel, both some pretty new boutique hotels located in Colorado that were founded in about 2024 and 2025. Would that be correct, Jordan?
Yeah, that's right. And thanks for having me.
And thank you, Jordan, for hopping on the show with us. Welcome to Future of Consumer Marketing. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Yeah, stoked to be here.
And Jordan, just so that we can get the audience a bit more in context and us to understand a bit better about your background, your story, and how you became the owner of these hotels.
I'll keep it short as I can, but it's kind of a roundabout way. I started out in the military. So I served in the military for 5 years. And kind of always had this desire to get into real estate. So kind of jumped into real estate kind of on the residential side and bought some properties, ended up kind of getting more involved on the short-term rental side. So Airbnbs, VRBOs, bookings, things like that. And so bought those properties, and all of a sudden I kind of found this renewed love for, maybe not renewed love, but like this love for hospitality. So it was a good blend of real estate and hospitality. Ended up kind of leaving the military, jumped in a management role and operations role for a large short-term rental management company. And it was kind of an eye-opening experience of how large hospitality works and also why hotels maybe operate the way they do. It's really hard to have efficiencies and to scale when you have properties all over the place, but hotels, pretty basic model. You have one building, a bunch of rooms in that one building. And then kind of the marketing side kind of started to kick in too. Short-term rentals, they're hard to market. You can't really market an individual property, but hotels give you an opportunity to tell a story and to grow something bigger. So that's kind of a quick overview of how I got to where I am today. Just me and a buddy decided we wanted to buy a hotel, so we did it.
Wow, that is amazing. But I love the fact that you noticed that, marketing like individual properties and having Airbnb listings, it's a bit more complex than what you just mentioned, that it's now that hotels are a bit easier to manage. And I don't mean easier in that it's less work, but in the fact that it's all localized in one place. So you could just make sure you're attending to everything properly.
Exactly.
And which hotel came first, Jordan, the Ridge Hotel or the Adventure Inn?
So it was the Adventure Inn first. That was in
Okay.
Durango, Colorado. So it's about 5 hours from where we're based out of, which is Colorado Springs. And then as we were kind of looking for, the first hotel, you talk to a lot of brokers, you try to find deals. And this one kind of came from one of those connections we had made. So we didn't plan to purchase the second one as soon as we did, but the second one eventually came along shortly after.
Wow. And did you, in terms of you said that hotels, you're able to create a story and that the marketing side kicked in at one point. What has been the narrative that you've created for these hotels in order to be able to market them properly and get a higher volume of guests?
Yeah, so we definitely always wanted to feed into the local area. The biggest thing that we've realized is that guests aren't searching for our hotel and then deciding they want to come to Durango or Manitou Springs. They're deciding they want to go to Durango or to Manitou Springs, Colorado, and then they're looking for a place to stay. And so we wanted to appeal to the traveler that was already naturally coming in, right? Like the natural demand from, the adventure side of things, from whether it be fishing or mountain biking or skiing or whatever people are doing in the area. We wanted that to appeal to those types of people. And also, I think a lot of our demographic and target market in terms of marketing has just been focused on who we are as people. What resonates with us? What are the places we want to go? And I think what we find as appealing, we as in me and my business partner and our wives, what we find as appealing is also appealing to a lot of other younger people between the age of 20 and 40. Maybe they have kids, maybe they don't. Maybe they're traveling solo, but something that really like resonates deep inside. And so we definitely leaned into this clean, modern aesthetic, but something that feels, true to Colorado, true to the roots of the area, and kind of fits the modern traveler.
And I'm imagining it very like what's it called? Like a lodge. I imagine a lot of lumber, wood. Is it kind of like that vibe? When you said fishing, skiing, and all that, I just started to imagine that type of vibe.
Yeah. It's similar, right? Like, yeah, you're looking at like kind of a muted color palette for the most part. Something that kind of resonates with like the greens in the mountains and, the red of the rocks. So kind of those things, natural woods, leather, stuff that kind of feels worn in. But this is part of the process we're going through with our new hotel. So we bought the Ridge Hotel and we're actually changing it to what's going to be known as the Outrider Hotel. And through that, we have an interior designer coming in and helping us select all these materials for this large renovation we're doing. And so we're going through that process of what does it look like to redefine this existing hotel with the material selections we choose? Do we go with dark woods, light woods, maybe a mix? Do we go with, leathers or, furs or, we're like discovering a lot of that stuff right now to make sure it's true to the brand and true to the people we want to bring in.
When it comes to terms of marketing your hotels, what have been the channels that you've decided to use? And do you have any example of a certain campaign that you applied that worked really well or something that you're thinking of doing?
Yeah, it's certainly not something that we've like nailed down quite yet. Like we're working through the process right now. And I think we have a really good kind of plan ahead of what that marketing is going to look like. What we've found to be the most effective tends to be user-generated content. And so bringing people in, bringing these influencers in, and, they're actually showing what it's like to stay there. So people don't want these stale images of a clean room, right? Like it doesn't help them. It doesn't evoke emotion in them when you're trying to market that to people. And so when we have people actually using the space, they're sitting in our hot tub and they're recording themselves in there. They're showing, hey, this is a really relaxing, nice place to stay. It's got this large, cedar hot tub that's private. Those types of things are what are going to draw guests in. And so really trying to get a long list of influencers on social media to come in, film their content, use some of that content to then market out further to even more guests. So that's something that we're working on, and that we've seen like some success with already, but certainly not there yet. It's a work in progress for us as we kind of discover what's working and what's not.
Of course. Now, and I imagine that with user-generated content, it's also looking for the appropriate type of user that is going to be able to appreciate and properly sell what you're inviting them to do and show your hotel in the most appropriate way. I know it's not like what's it called? It's not the simplest process to find people that match what you're selling. But yeah, user-generated content, I do agree with the fact that showing people having a good time from a first-person point of view is a lot more valuable to somebody looking to stay somewhere than just a bland and perfectly clean room that you see the beds and the windows. And it's like, is it real though? Could it be AI?
Well, and the problem is it doesn't tell a story. It doesn't like resonate with somebody because they're not picturing themselves in place of someone else there. And so, even another thing we focused a lot on, and we just spent, 3 or 4 days out in Durango doing a long film shoot. So we like the user generated content, but like, let's film some other stuff. So we went out and we brought our mountain bikes, we brought, hiking gear, and we had like a 2 or 3 film crew that kind of followed us around with drones in the mountains and tried to capture a lot of this footage. And then we also got footage of the hotel and us spending time in the hotel. But the content that really sells is helping people realize like our hotel is an extension of the area. And so we're selling the area as well as our hotel now because without the area, our hotel is nothing, right? Like no one's going to choose to come there just to come there. I mean, most people wouldn't. And so I think that's a really big thing that we're focusing on as well.
Jordan, do you have a specific season that you've noticed that it brings a higher volume of guests to the hotel, or is this something that's year round being properly utilized and getting the amount of people that you would expect?
Yeah, we definitely, so we're a seasonal business, so most of our business is coming in the summertime. But our goal with social media is to try to balance that out as much as possible and show people, hey, there's a bunch of stuff to do in Durango in the wintertime. There's a ski slope that's 30 minutes away. There's these awesome hot springs. And so what we're trying to do is use this marketing to bolster our slow season more than we can in our busy season, because no matter what, people are going to find our place in the busy season. So we really see that the greatest potential in our marketing in that slow season and in the shoulder seasons.
Okay. And have you tailored the campaigns or the marketing you use according to the season you're in? Is that something that you're also doing? Just like wondering how it works for hotels.
Yeah, so this is our first slow season where we'll actually be open. The last slow season we were closed for renovations. So we haven't had a chance to do this yet, but yes, that is the intent, to basically to redo our marketing for each season so that again, someone is feeling like, what is it going to be like? And we're even playing with this idea of, on our website, you can toggle between like a summer mode and a winter mode. So say you're saying, I'm going to come in the wintertime, and then it kind of switches the website over into kind of a more winter feel, maybe like cozy by the fireplace feel, hot tub, focusing on things like that. And in the summertime, it's mountain biking, it's hiking, it's all these different things.
Of course. Now, I hadn't realized that it's December 5th, and up there it must be like white and snowy, and it must be perfect snow right now, right? Because I'm down here in Argentina, in Buenos Aires, and we're smack dab in the middle of summer. So I would love to be in the snow right now, because it's you have no idea how smoldering hot it is outside.
Yeah, we're definitely getting some snow. This past week, we probably, got maybe 5 or 6 inches out there. It doesn't really tend to pick up until January, February, though.
And you mentioned that you're 30 minutes away from a mountain that is skiable, sort of like from a ski complex that people can go to. Is there any way, or have you ever thought about partnerships with those ski resorts, or maybe just being able to provide a discount and that way bringing more people for the slow season?
Yeah, no, that's a great point. And it's something that we're kind of working on. I say kind of because the mountain close by is called Purgatory, and they actually have some like lodging. They're trying to get into like the lodging space. And so they've bought and renovated a hotel kind of not too far from ours. And they've done a poor job of it, if I'm being honest. But it's hard to build partnerships directly with the mountain from what we found, just because they're like trying to like compete. So they don't want to take market away from themselves. But we have started working towards we're working with a transportation company that can bring people up to the mountain and back, regardless of the weather, which is really important. So whether it's rain or shine, some people will try to take an Uber to the mountain and they can get there, but by the time they get up there and are headed back, it's snowing and the Ubers can't pick them up. So we're trying to build some connections with local shuttle companies, which has kind of been in the works and it seems to be working well. And then we're kind of going to try to focus on the relaxation element of things, or kind of like the wellness. And so there's a large hot spring that I mentioned before, and so trying to partner with them as well. You get if you stay with us and you get a pass with them, maybe there's a discount on both ends or one end. So things like that is kind of what we're looking at. Definitely want to. I think I love the idea of just small business supporting small business, right? We're local owners in a way, because we're based in Colorado, and we want to help other people in the area be just as successful as us. And so I love the idea of finding ways to kind of partner, whether it be through the Chamber of Commerce, our local Chamber of Commerce, or through just direct connections with local businesses.
No, yeah, and I do think it's beautiful, and more so in those places that I'm not sure how big or how much people Durango has, but I imagine it more of like a natural experience where you go to live the outdoors. So it's not that it doesn't have that many people, and therefore you need to help out the locals and these cottage industries from the place to be able to keep preserving the essence of what makes Durango, or where the Rich Hotel is, what it makes it that. So I do understand the value in keeping it local and keeping it in between yourselves, because it really helps demonstrate the essence of the place. So that's really cool. And Jordan, have you noticed in the creation of the Adventure Inn and also with the Rich Hotel and how you're renovating it to change it, have you noticed any similarities in standards in the procedures about keeping for the upkeep of a hotel that you would say like, yeah, this is something I could open 2, I could open 3, I could create and create a whole hotel chain from what I've understood now. But just wondering if you have any insight in that regard.
Yeah, definitely a lot of things. I think what we're realizing is that some of the things that like a lot of hotels focus on, let's say just like clean rooms, that's not something you offer. That's just basic necessity, right? Like that's like the bare minimum of what you should provide. And so what a lot of our focus has gone into, and this has been hard in a seasonal market, and I'll explain why is, but your employees need to really understand the ethos and the culture you're trying to build within the hotel. And that even needs to align with the brand that you're building. So if your brand is built off this, like our new brand for the Outrider / Ridge Hotel is built off this idea of locals kind of meeting with travelers. And so you have this local experience that is shared with these travelers. And so someone walks in the hotel and they want to know the best thing to do. They don't Google it and they say, oh, we got to go over here because that's where all the other tourists are going. They get like the nitty gritty, like, no, this is actually the best place to go hiking. You need to try this out. And so you're getting kind of like this local feel and like this local connection and really trying to force interactions between guests. And so what we've tried to focus on in an operational way of sorts is how do we train our employees, every employee across the board, to really emphasize or kind of share that same company culture and share that with the guests, so that no matter who a guest interacts with throughout the day, they're getting that same sense of culture that our brand, what we want our brand to kind of emphasize. And we've realized that what this does is it creates a great experience for guests, but it also, really helps our hotel succeed. When people know that they're getting more than a clean room, they're going to, a real person at the front desk is going to talk to them. Everything is going digital. Everything's going towards, the age of, agentic AI. And we're not, we're leaning into that on back end processes. And that's, another system to your point of kind of how we're trying to standardize things across our hotels. But we want there to be a person at the front desk. We want when something goes wrong, that person to come down and have a face-to-face conversation with our front desk, and find ways to resolve that issue, not have to go through a phone tree and talk to somebody that is not even there. So I think that's been some of our focus as we've thought about how do we scale these properties, how do we build a brand that doesn't just last for one hotel or 2 hotels, but can stand the test of time. And I'm big on legacy assets. I don't want to turn this hotel around and just get rid of it. I want this to be a long-term investment.
No, and I do understand in the fact that, when you're creating a brand and if you want to make a legacy, you need to have that narrative and that lore around what you represent. And I believe that the insider scoop, and if you stay at your hotel, then I'll be able to talk to the people that work there that are locals and get like the really good advice that is honest, that a local would go to that place to hike or go to this creek and not that one that is the most touristy, because I have felt the tourist side of things. And I've always felt kind of played when I arrive and it's just like 50 million people in the same place. And I'm like, why did I come here? But okay.
Yeah, exactly.
And another thing I'd love to know as well is, seeing as you have the Adventure Inn and it's the Outrider, the Ridge Hotel is going to become the Outrider, right? Okay.
That's right. Yeah.
And the Outrider, how many people do you have hired working for you at these hotels at the moment? Because I understand that the team must be expanding, but just questioning how many people you have helping you out, because it's a hell of an endeavor.
Yeah. So it's me and my business partner that kind of run things at the higher level. And so we're pretty involved, but it's not. I mean, for me, I do this full time, but he's got another job. And so he does it kind of part time. But the basic employee structure inside our hotel is, or inside each hotel is, we have a manager, like a general manager, and then we usually have an assistant general manager. Depending on the size of the hotel, we might have a head of housekeeper. So at the Outrider, it's about twice the size of the Adventure Inn. So we have a head housekeeper, and then we have a staff of roughly 2 to 4 housekeepers. And then on the back end of things, so that's like in property staff. Back end, we have someone that runs marketing. We have which was a new hire for us, and then we have a revenue manager, and these are global talent. So these are people that we've just either known from the different industries, but they're based elsewhere, not here in Colorado. So revenue manager, marketing, and then sometimes we bring in some like back end, like admin support. And then we have bookkeepers. So people that help with our accounting and keeping the books straight, usually like 2 people on the back end of that. So that's for the most part kind of, so we're talking like 4 or 5 global talent throughout the year that kind of can oversee both properties, and then a staff of 5 to 10 in each property.
And for the time being, you don't think that you need any more help, but if you were to acquire a third hotel, then it would mean adding a bit more people to the roster that you have working for you, right?
Yeah. So what we've done though is we've created a management company, and that management company allows us to share some of the costs. So we don't need 2 revenue managers, right? We need 1 revenue manager that can run multiple hotels. And eventually, that scales where, say we have 5 hotels. Well, now maybe we need, a revenue director and then a revenue manager underneath them, or a revenue specialist beneath them. And so the team could definitely grow. Thankfully, on property, we run as lean as possible. And so hopefully our staff doesn't grow on the ground. And even better, if we could acquire a second hotel, let's say the Outrider Hotel, which is in Manitou Springs, let's say we acquire another one down the road. Well, now we have greater operational efficiency, so we can use that general manager for both properties. So now instead of having 1 for each property, we can have, 1 or 2 that oversee 2 different ones with, housekeepers that maybe do both as well. So that's something that we've looked at as well to kind of greater increase our lean efficiency.
Of course. No, and the more you keep at it, the more you'll be able to optimize and make the processes more efficient. And therefore, if a third hotel, a second hotel comes on, you'll be like, I can take this.
Yeah.
And you already know how it works. And in the chat, when I just feel it just goes hand in hand when I'm doing these podcasts. But when I start to talk about the team and how it's being built and what you have helping you out in terms of people, I also love to then link it to AI, because it's something that is being so talked about nowadays, and it's just being compared like the workforce, or if you're using AI. So then I love, because I heard you mention AI and learn how you guys are using it to help you in the back end.
Yeah. So I would say like where the future, or what we're currently doing right now, is a lot of guest messaging, basic guest messaging can go out through AI. So a guest asks a simple question. Hey, what time does the hot tub open and close? And we don't need someone on our team answering that. That AI can answer that stuff. So like basic questions can all kind of be messaged with guests. Oftentimes that's just over text messages. And then the other area that I think we'll eventually move to is bookkeeping. We'll move more and more towards, less people looking through every transaction, and more AI kind of overseeing some of that stuff, and then someone kind of overseeing the AI on that side of things. And then we use it for a ton of like miscellaneous backend stuff. So if we want to put together, an article for our website for SEO purposes, if we want to put together collateral that kind of matches our brand to put on our website, if we want to put together standard operating procedures, all that stuff we're throwing through usually multiple models. So I tend to jump through Grok, ChatGPT, and Gemini. They all give kind of different things, and so trying to get different things like that. And then for underwriting these properties too, we've done some underwriting through some of these AI models as well, and that's been really effective. Helps us kind of get a baseline understanding of what does the market look like? Is the market going up? Is it going down? Is travel going up or going down? And so it can through deep research do some pretty in-depth analysis of each market that we're looking at going into.
And Jordan, in terms of priorities that you would have for the Adventure Inn, the Outrider, maybe for both as a whole, in 2026, what are the top 3, if you want to list them, or maybe just give me one? What are the top 3 priorities you have for these hotels, and what do you want to accomplish?
I think the first and the largest is we have the Ridge closed down to convert it into the Outrider. So we're going through a $2 million renovation, kind of inside and out. And so, the first priority is get this property cleaned up, fixed up, looking good, and then back live. So that it should be opening up sometime around like May 1st of this next year. But the second biggest thing is really honing in what is our marketing strategy going to be. If you go and look at our social medias right now for our hotels, one, we're formulating them right now, and I think we have a lot of work to do. But I'm really excited about kind of the direction we're going with things and how it's going to turn out. And so I think the second priority is really establishing what is going to be the look and feel of how we market on social media, because I think that is the future of boutique hotels. And so I really want to make sure that we do that right. And so we have a great opportunity with this new hotel to be able to start off on a fresh foot and really just hit it hard. And so that's like, so top priority, renovation, second priority, marketing. And then third priority, make our investors money, I guess.
I know that should always be a priority. So if your investors listen to it, they'll be happy.
If we do the first two, the third will come, right? So
I have no doubt. And I imagine, Jordan, that these timelines for what you want to accomplish are hopefully to be done by the busy season of next year, so that you can take full advantage of the Outrider when it's like the full out season.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Of course. Now, I would imagine. I'm noticing that we're almost at time, Jordan. And before I close out the episode, I would love to give you the time to let anybody who's listening to us know how they could find out further about the Adventure Inn, about the Outrider and when it's going to be ready. And if they want to see the area where you're at, how to book, how would somebody go about learning more from you guys?
I think the easiest, centralist place, I've been trying to get more involved kind of on social media. So I'm on Instagram and I'm on LinkedIn. LinkedIn, just my name, Jordan Malara, JORDAN MALARA. And then Instagram, Hotel Investor. So it's hotel and then no space, INN. So in, and then investor. So you can find me on there, and that will kind of link out to, our different websites. We don't have a website live for the Outrider. We're working on that right now. We don't have social media live for it. And then for Adventure Inn, it's adventureindurango.com. So that's how you can find us. And same thing on Instagram. So yeah, thanks for that.
I can honestly say, from hearing the conversation, being with you, I now have a wanderlust that I want to go fishing, I want to go hiking, I want to go skiing, and it's way too hot to do any of those right now here. So I'm going to see if I can get myself a ticket to Colorado soon, because my goodness, that sounds like a blast, man.
Let me know.
But for real, Jordan, thank you so much for your time, for hopping on the show, to give us your insights, to tell us your story. And honestly, I really hope all the best for both hotels, man. I hope the Outrider is ready in time so that you can take the best advantage of that busy season. And yeah, if I'm ever in Colorado, man, I'll hit you up so I can see them, so I can live them too.
That's right. Well, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to speak and kind of share my insight, Andres.
No problem at all, Jordan. So it really has been a pleasure. And to everybody who has been listening to us and is here with us, thank you so much for staying on the show. I hope that you guys keep returning to listen to the different personalities we talk to and to see all the different industries that we're learning about. And with that said, thank you very much.